Namaste, friends. This is Elle with Sacred Union Tarot, and I am going to bring some messages from the Divine Masculine's energy. It just feels like to me that they're going through kind of a dark energy as they go through this transition. It feels like there is a transition, like Six of Swords energy. And they've done some purging like we have, but they are, I wouldn't say dark night of the soul energy, but just, it feels like a very weary energy. It feels like they're, I'm actually going to pull from a different oracle deck. Let me grab a different one. Messages from the guides. It feels like their energy is not dark in the way of, sinister, but just heavy sadness. Forlorn is the word I'm hearing. Like they're just weary of trying to overcome some of the things that are going on in their life. Could be the ending. It feels like endings. Could be some transition of work. Feels like maybe some family disruptions. Not having a clear direction of what they really want to do. It feels like they've invested a considerable amount of time in a lot of areas of their life, and now they're second guessing because they're not happy, and they're trying to figure out what they're doing that is making them so unhappy. So I've asked permission to connect with their higher self and their guides to help bring forth this message, to help us get some clarity so we know how to support them. I thought, well, we're gonna get started. Like attracts like. Stay open-minded and forgive yourself. All three of those cards exactly match. So what they've been manifesting is some turbulence because they're in this low vibration energy. And they kind of are like, they're trying to determine how they can make adjustments in their life in order to try and get on a happy path. And they feel like they've made some bad choices. Not bad choices, but like karmic choices. And they're just tired of dealing with karmic energy. And they're trying to unravel and untangle themselves from the complexity of these decisions. I'm going to put these here like that. All right, so like attracts like. I'm going to use the Somnio Tarot. And let's find out what's going on in their energy. Okay, Queen of Cups and the Hanged Man. They've been very emotional because they're trying to really unravel where their decision making, why the outcomes didn't match what they thought when they made the decisions. It feels like they're just trying to see things from a different perspective. And there is the Empress, the Knight of Swords, and the Six of Cups. Well, yeah. Okay, so that's what it is. You've triggered them. Divine Feminine, you have triggered them. They are getting clarity now that they haven't been happy in their life. So they've been really emotional. It's like emotional purging. And they feel the connection and they realize that's what's missing. I think my Divine Masculine said exactly that, something's missing, and so now they're getting clarity that it's the connection to their soul that is calling them, and that's why these former decisions it didn't align with the outcomes they were anticipating because they weren't soul-based. And here we have the Knight of Cups. So the Knight is bringing in new energy, and this is emotional energy. This is connecting to his emotions. So after he's done this emotional purging, He's ready to move forward now in a more positive, emotionally balanced, because now he's reevaluating his life and the decisions that he's made. And here we have the Magician. Absolutely. He wants to manifest something now based upon what his heart is yearning for. So he's ready to recreate himself, to find happiness. So he wants to find things that are more emotionally fulfilling and to figure out what's missing, which is this soul connection with his divine feminine. And there is the Devil. He's been tied up in this toxic energy, trying to manifest himself out of that. We have quite a few major arcanas here. 2 knights, a queen, the Empress, the Hanged Man, the Magician, and the Devil. The Magician and the Devil are, he's manifested this toxic energy in his life, and he's trying to purge. He's trying to evaluate and analyze what went wrong. Why didn't this work out the way I thought? Why am I not happy? You know, he may have some tangible outcomes that are good, but they're not making him happy. Okay, so we have the 4 of Pentacles, Death, the 4 of Wands, and the 9 of Cups. He's been resistant to ending these things to bring in more stability and emotional happiness. So he got stuck. He didn't want to lose everything he'd accomplished. That's the energy he's now attracting back. And he feels stuck. So let's see what he needs to stay open-minded. This is open-minded, this Hangman. He needs to stay open-minded about you know, making this decision to release himself from the investments that he's made in these things that are not making him happy, and start to focus more on the soul energy. Justice. Justice brings balance. That's the 11 card. He's cutting himself free. Once he has this transition of perspective and he figures out what's wrong, he's going to cut himself free. But first he has to forgive himself, because, you know, you get angry when you invest a lot of time and energy and resources into building a marriage or a business or, you know, your career, and then you feel like you got to walk away from it because it's not making you happy. There's the Hierophant. That is the spiritual divine masculine card for me. That's the spiritual side. So he is definitely balancing now his strength. Yeah, flew right over there. He needs strength. He's finding the strength. Look at all the major arcanas. He's finding the strength to release himself from what he has built in order to restore balance to his spiritual side, his spiritual connection. But he's got to forgive himself first. And that will bring in the Justice. There's the 8 of Cups. There's the spiritual path right there. So this is his awakening. But in order to really embrace that energy, he has to forgive himself for holding himself accountable. That's what he's doing. He's holding himself accountable. Two of Swords. That was the stuck energy. This choice that he had to make has been hard, and he had to acquire the strength. And what he had to do was connect to his soul's energy, and do the work to see things, and so that he could bring justice to himself through forgiveness, to connect to his spiritual path. Because oftentimes in your spiritual path, you have to walk away from a lot of things in that life that you had led previous to your awakening. You have to let go of so many things because they just aren't right for you anymore. Judgment and Nine of Swords. Yeah, this is the choice he had to make, and he agonized over it. Because the Judgment card to me is, number one, karma, and number two, your ascension. And you can see that with the ladder there. He had to choose to go from this darkness, this darker energy. Remember, I was saying it was a darker energy, so you can see he was in that darker energy, obviously with somebody that was not serving him. There are three people here. And they're having to choose. He's going to have to choose this spiritual side. If you see the same character, this is the spiritual side. This is the path to ascension. He has to get into his spiritual energy and walk away from this darker, lower vibration energy, which has been manifested in his life because, and there was that Devil card, because the choices that he made from an unconscious decision-making framework, and it wasn't to support his spiritual growth. And then here we have the Queen of Swords. So there we go. We're cutting that shit out. So this is the awakening of the Divine Masculine and connecting to his spiritual journey. That's hard. It is hard. He might have to walk away from a marriage. He may have to change his career. He may have financial losses. He's been calculating all of this, and it's been feeling very heavy. There's the Six of Swords. Didn't I tell you we were going to go through this transition in Six of Swords energy at the beginning of this reading? There it is. This is a transition card. He's going from the Ten of Swords, this really painful, heavy energy, and he's lifting himself up to be able to start his ascension journey. He is actually being pulled into his ascension spiritual path. And that's leaving it behind. All right, last part of this message. Ten of Wands. Yep. Three of Cups. That's union energy. And the Star. Hope. Healing. Okay, so he is leaving behind this really heavy... He's done with this. This is a 10 card. That's the end of that phase. He's really focusing on healing, and the union energy that he is connecting to is propelling him. That's what's lifting him up. Is he feels that he needs to be unified with his divine feminine, his soul connection. That's what is missing, which is helping him or prompting him to take his spiritual journey. All right. Let's take a couple of cards from the Romance Oracle. The Eye of Zen by Jennifer Walker Zen. I like this deck. It's something may be going on in his heart space where the divine feminine is concerned. What's going on in his heart space where the divine feminine is concerned? Don't be overly optimistic if the card doesn't come out to be, all love, romance, and, marriage. There's a lot of purging that's going to happen and some healing that's going to happen before he can get into that energy. But know that this is the first steps of his spiritual journey, and his soul has awakened to this connection. And in order to be in sustainable union, he intuitively knows he's going to have to go on a little bit of a soul sojourn. Hope. All is not lost. A positive, favorable outcome is still possible. So he has hope. This is what is giving him hope, which is also giving him the strength to make this transition. So for you, whoever is watching this, you need to stay open-minded and in high vibration and forgive yourself and your divine masculine, because this is a hard part of the journey. All right, I'm going to leave it there. Namaste.